Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 4th ever Top Cut Invitational. I am host Crimz Rojano, here with Kyle Pooka Sucevich, and I'm pretty sure it's fair to say that we couldn't be more excited to bring this tournament to everybody else.
Yeah, this is going to be an absolutely exciting tournament. Of course, we put this on every year. We invite 8 of the biggest names in the game. We have 8 incredible players today. Right in front of us, we have Lex D'Andrea, Ryan Sablehouse, Jason Kaczynski, Sammy Sakum, Tsuguyoshi Yamato, Takuya Yoneda, Brandon Salazar, and Ross Cawthon battling it out to see who's going to take home that big trophy.
Yes. Now, since we have 8 players, we are going to actually separate them out into 2 pods of 4 players each. 2 players will then advance to the top 4, in which case we'll start off with a bracket round from that point on. So I'm really excited to bring these players to this tournament. And what pods do we actually have here?
Well, I have them right here. Looks like in the red pod we have a very, very good matchup. The one we're going to feature first, Tsuguyoshi Yamato versus Takuya Yoneda. 2 of our Japanese players happen to get paired round 1, so that's going to be awesome. We also have Ross Cawthon and Brandon Salazar as the other match in the red pod. And then in blue, Sammy Sakum versus Jason Kaczynski, another great one.
Oh, my God.
And then Lex D'Andrea versus Ryan Sablehouse. So the Kaczynski Open winner versus the previous Top Cut Invitational winner. Lots and lots of great matchups here.
And actually, Sammy Sakum against Jason Kaczynski happened to be the finals of the first ever Top Cut Invitational.
Correct.
That's some history for you guys, and Sammy Sakum actually ended up falling to Jason Kaczynski in that tournament. I wonder if that's going to happen here today. We'll have to find out pretty soon.
Anything can happen. We've seen it time and time again. We don't know who's going to win, right?
No, we don't. But
everybody is an incredibly good player, so anybody could win. If we ran this tournament 10 times, we could have, I don't know, 8 times we could have 8 different winners.
We really could. And what's funny is that everybody has their own opinion of who they think is going to be the champion coming out of this tournament. And, I mean, I'm telling you, I've heard everything from Lex to Jason to Sammy and, everybody else. So I personally think that Yoneda is going to make it out of the red pod. I believe he's going to beat Yamato, and Jason Kaczynski is going to fall to Sammy Sakum. Those are my 2 predictions for our 2 matches that we're going to be keeping an eye on this first round.
All right, I think Yoneda will get out. I feel like he is just on a roll these past couple of years, right?
Exactly.
He hasn't lost a Swiss round in 2 years at Worlds.
That's exactly what I was about to mention. He did not make the top 8 in what had to be the most frustrating and heartbreaking moment in his TCG career. He went 5-0-4 and barely missed top 8 at this World Championships just today.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Yoneda and Ross out of red, and then I'm actually going to do Sammy and Jason in blue.
Sammy and Jason. So you think that whoever loses out of that is going to end up rolling off 2 straight victories?
Still going to make it, yeah. But I think we're getting started. They're setting up the match, so let's cut right over. Get started with round number 1.
All right, let's do it.
So, oh man, same sleeves.
And let's see. I believe Yamato is going to be the player on our left, and Yoneda is going to be the player on our right.
Looks like it, yep.
So
a little bit confusing as they do have the same sleeves. Hopefully they're not playing the same deck, too.
I know, right? Do we actually know what decks they're playing, or is this going to be a surprise for us?
No, we're going in blind, man.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so obviously going in blind, we really don't have too much we can strategize about and talk about. So let's just hope that this game gets started as soon as possible. It looks like the players are now getting word from the judges. So as soon as it begins, we'll all know together.
Yeah, it looks like these 2 guys posing for a picture here before we start. Now, when they got their pairings, Yamato looked at his card and he went, "Oh no!" Yoneda is considered the best player in Japan. So if there's anybody he didn't want to face, it was him.
Yeah, Yoneda is considered the best player in Japan. Yamato's considered maybe the most legendary player of all time, arguably, obviously. So this is just an incredible pairing against 2 of Japan's absolute best players, and I'm glad that they're both at the Top Cut Invitational. I am really sorry that they're both playing together. They're both playing each other in the first round. It's going to be unfortunate for them, but that is what happens. It is a random pairing after all, and it could have happened anyways.
Hey, I'm excited. We get to see this incredible matchup. And it looks like Yoneda did win the flip, so he will be going first. He is the player on the right here. Man, this is going to be exciting. Of course, Yamato is our former Top Cut Invitational champion from 2012, former world champion. I don't know.
Yeah, he did beat David Cohen in pretty much the most, I believe we can say that it's the most legendary match we've actually had in the Top Cut Invitational. We've only had 3 tournaments so far, but easily that's the most talked about match that we've had.
Yeah, just an incredible finals matchup. If you guys never watched it, go back, There's the YouTube videos out there. And also, I just want to take a moment to thank our sponsors for running this event. We have Top Sail Cruises, 8-Bit Planet, and Legacy Cards. Without them, this tournament wouldn't be possible. So just want to say thank you to them. Go ahead, check out their websites. Check them out. Give them some love.
Yeah, we actually have great prizes in store for all these players, including those that actually get eliminated in the first round. This is more of a tournament to really showcase these players' skills and explain and show the world that not only does Pokemon have great players, but it also has great personalities. And this is a tournament that's made for all the fans that are currently here gathered spectating. I know you guys can't see it currently, but, I mean, it's packed.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I mean, these are just some of the best players. It's an exciting event. I know you guys watching can't see this, but there is a whole crowd gathered around here. Just excited to see these 8 players go at it. It has turned into a tradition here after the World Championships.
It really has, and I couldn't be more proud of what it's become. And I'm excited to see, how this develops in the future. But currently, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's at its peak. It's exactly where it needs to be.
Yeah, it looks like our head judge, Doug Morrisoli, is getting all the players together. And here we go, round number 1 underway.
And the handshake is made. I believe that's an Eviltal going up against the Thundurus.
That's correct. Wow. So we have an Eviltal Garbodor deck from Yoneda. That is the deck he did play at the World Championships, I believe. And a Team Plasma deck out of Yamato. So this should be an interesting matchup. It
really should. This is actually a matchup that got featured quite a bit. Well, maybe not the matchup got featured quite a bit, but the Garbodor deck is super popular at the World Championships. I'm sure. I mean, I personally casted it a couple of times, and I know that other people did too. So, Garbodor is one of the top decks at the World Championships, and actually, the Plasma deck is one of those decks that had a lot of buzz coming into this tournament and performed quite well.
Yeah, I would say traditionally this matchup does favor the Plasma deck. Right, Thundurus EX just hits for so much against the Lightning weak Eviltal EX. If you can play a Starling, Megaphone, or a Tool Scrapper, get rid of the Tool on Garbodor, get back your abilities. I mean, that adds up so quickly with Muscle Band, Deoxys EX. Sometimes you can actually knock out Eviltal EX in one hit with 1 energy.
Yeah, you really can. The Raiden Knuckle, it's subtly powerful. Not only does it bring energy back from your discard pile back to play, so it really speeds up your game, but it also deals quite a bit of damage, especially to Lightning weak Pokemon.
Yeah, and it looks like Yoneda is really struggling to do something here. He has not even played a single card yet, so he's been thinking there for about a minute, and he's going to attach and then play an N on the first turn. Looks like he had some tough decision to make, but he's come to this.
Yeah, it was a very basic play that he ended up making, but I'm sure that he had to have quite a few options available to him, and he ended up going with what I would assume would be one of the simplest ones.
Yeah. Now, he won't be able to attack since he is going first, so opening with that regular Eviltal is not as great as it could be. Especially, it's also weak to Lightning, so a Thundurus EX very reasonably could knock it out on the first turn. So maybe not the best opening Pokemon for him.
However, he does get heads on his Hypnotoxic Laser, so there's a 50% chance that his opponent has to have a switch card in order to even begin attacking himself.
Right, and is that a Muscle Band? I couldn't actually catch what tool it is.
I couldn't catch it either. It could be a Muscle Band, could be a Floatstone, hard to tell.
Could be a Hard Charm. Who knows?
Could be a Hard Charm. Oh, man. That one took me by surprise earlier.
So now we'll have to see what Yamato does in his turn. We do see, it is a Hard Charm, by the way.
It is a Hard Charm, and not only is it a Hard Charm, but he actually stayed asleep at the start of his own turn. So Yamato will likely not be able to attack on this very first turn.
And that's good news for Yoneda as 3 Deoxys EX come down on the bench. That's plus 30 damage to all those Team Plasma attacks. And we see, Scramble Switch right off the bat. So Yamato burning his Ace Spec right away.
You know what's interesting is that this list is very similar to the list that I featured at, I believe, the junior finals.
Yeah.
If this was in the junior finals. And it was a Japanese player that was in this junior final. So this might be a standard deck list for a standard Plasma deck list for Japanese players.
Yeah, I believe this might be the deck that Yamato used in the Last Chance qualifier this year. Unfortunately, he was eliminated in the first round, but I heard a lot of people saying, he's playing this crazy Plasma deck with Tropical Beach and all this stuff, and that's exactly what we saw in the junior finals. So maybe it is the same deck.
Which, I mean, I'm sure is extremely powerful. It did extremely well at the World Championships, and it even won the Junior Division Finals.
Yeah. Now, it looks like Yamato was unable to find another switching card to get his Thundurus EX back in the active spot. So, Yoneda's Eviltal will survive thanks to the Hypnotoxic Laser.
Yes, Hypnotoxic Laser is an incredibly powerful item, especially when you get heads and your opponent gets tails.
Yeah.
By the way, I want to mention that not only was the Plasma deck, a very similar list with Tropical Beach and whatnot, but the opponent's list was also a Garbodor deck, which featured Hard Charm. So we're actually seeing kind of a repeat of the Junior Division Finals from earlier today.
We'll see if the Masters players can end up with a different result.
Yeah, we will. The Masters players, Yoneda, I guess, has quite a bit of a challenge ahead of him.
Seems like it. So he's going to play a second N of the game here. He does still have that Yveltal active. He's going to want to get maybe Garbodor out if he can. If not, at least another Pokemon in play to start powering up. Because that regular Yveltal is not going to do much.
Yeah, he absolutely needs a Garbodor right now. If he doesn't get a Garbodor, he might fall pretty far behind just because of the 3 Power Connects already available to him.
Oh, yeah.
To Yamato.
Yeah, if that Thundurus EX were to attack right now, it would get an easy knockout on that regular Yveltal.
Yeah, but not only does he need a Garbodor, but he would also need a tool. That's not exactly easy on the second turn of the game.
Yeah. Now, I'm assuming that Yamato's deck runs Lugia EX. Perhaps there's 2 types of Plasma decks, Lugia or Kyurem. So if he runs Lugia EX, he's going to be trying to get those 3 prize knockouts with Plasma Gale, taking down those EXs with all those Deoxys EX, and then Muscle Band. If it's Kyurem, it's a little bit slower, but hey, that's another way to do it too.
Exactly. So Yoneda actually went for a Darkrai instead of a Garbodor or an Yveltal or anything like that, so I'm assuming that he's just trying to play it safe against Thundurus EX.
Yeah, now it's unfortunate he didn't draw a Darkness Energy to throw in the discard pile.
Yes, it is.
Then he would have been able to recover it with that Oblivion Wing. And, looks like he's actually going to retreat into his Trubbish and say, go ahead, have him.
Yeah, sacrificial Trubbish right there. Not exactly what you want to see from Yoneda. You already have what could be considered to be a pretty poor matchup for yourself. And if you fall behind on prizes and you lose your only Trubbish in play, then you run the risk of just losing specifically to the I was going to say to the Helix Force, but it's actually to the Power Connect that you lose to.
So we are just going to see a retreat and then a Raid Knuckle for the knockout. Energy going on to the Deoxys EX on the bench. Trubbish goes down. Big play there. And now we'll have to see if Yoneda can do anything here.
A big Colress from Yoneda is actually going to give him 7 new cards, which is a great amount for Colress, honestly.
Yeah, 7 is incredible. I mean, that's what Juniper gets you, but you don't have to discard your hand. So Colress is an explosive draw card that can draw anywhere up to 10. 7, you'll take that pretty much every time.
Sometimes it'll only get you 1, though. And sometimes that's enough.
Yeah, apparently. Now we do see a second Trubbish hitting the field, so he's not giving up on Garbodor quite yet. We'll see if he decides to use the Oblivion Wing or what he's going to do. He retreated it last time, just saying, you know what, doing the 30 Dabsol, it's not going to do anything. But this is a tough situation, too.
The truth is that you can't really win the game if you keep retreating your Yveltal to just, kind of sacrifice a Trubbish or even have Darkrai take a hit. That's not a winning play. Obviously, Oblivion Winging and then getting knocked out isn't really much of a winning play either, but you just have to come up with some sort of a better plan of your Yoneda right now.
Yeah, it looks like he's favoring Darkrai in this matchup. We see a lot of decks not use Darkrai anymore, just focus more on Yveltal EX. We see 2 Darkrai EX on the field, though. So, I don't know, maybe he's just thinking Darkrai is actually better against Plasma. It's not weak to Lightning, so he's going to start trying to power this up and attack that way. But one interesting thing here is that even though there's a Hard Charm, you think, oh, that cancels out Muscle Band. Not the case here. Hard Charm applies after Weakness and Resistance, Muscle Band before. So even with that Hard Charm, that regular Yveltal does get knocked out by a Raid Knuckle.
Yeah, it does. And Yoneda did decide to Oblivion Wing at the end of his turn. He did not have any Darkness Energies in his discard pile, but at least he gets 30 damage on the Thundurus, which can definitely prove to be relevant.
Yeah, now, Yamato does have a Lysander in his hand. He may decide to target down something on the bench, maybe go after that Trubbish, saying, you know what, I don't want that in play at all. Maybe he could target down the Yveltal EX on the bench, just hit it for a ton of damage.
Could go after the Darkrai that's being powered up currently. He does have a lot of options to him available to him. I think the Trubbish one might actually be one of the better plays just because...
Yeah, and that is what he's going for.
And he does go after the Trubbish. Going after the Trubbish almost ensures that you won't see a Garbodor in play throughout the remainder of the game, and that's pretty big. You have 3 Deoxys in play, and you want to take advantage of them.
Yeah, some interesting lists out of these 2 players. We see a Palkia EX in Yamato's hand, along with a Verbank City Gym, so he may be playing lasers as well. And we also saw Another interesting card out of his prizes, a second max potion, but what a scramble switch.
A scramble switch from Yoneda is actually going to allow him to start attacking with the Darkrai. That is a card that I did not expect to see out of Yoneda.
No. What? When did Darkrai start playing Scramble Switch?
That's what I was about to say. Scramble Switch in Plasma, I can see it. You know, that's okay. That's reasonable. I can expect that. Scramble Switch in Darkrai, man, my mind is blown, and it actually is working to its full potential right here. It's going to surprise Yamato if he didn't see it. Well, I mean, it's going to surprise him if he didn't see it coming, Kyle.
Very astute observation.
That's why they pay me the big bucks.
Now, he has to use a double colorless to use Night Spear here. Now, that is actually pretty bad because that's going to fuel Deoxys EX's Helix Force. We could see some big play here if Yamato can pull off something like a Muscle Band, Verbank, Laser. The Helix Force, I believe, actually adds up even through the resistance of Darkrai, and he'll get a knockout. That's going to be huge.
I'm going to trust your judgment there.
Let's do the math. It's 30, 60, 90, 120, 150. Minus 20, and then with a Muscle Band, it'll go up to 150 again. Verbank, Laser, 180.
Man, you did that in like a split second.
And another thing, there's the second Max Potion.
Oh, my goodness.
Goodbye.
Okay, that second Max Potion is actually huge here.
Goodbye,
it basically negated an A-Spec.
Yeah, it negated an entire attack from Darkrai EX. Max Potion, of course, an extremely powerful card. We haven't seen it as much lately because so much of the format has revolved around one-hit knockouts. But, hey, when someone's using Darkrai against you, hey, you just heal it off. Darkrai hardly ever gets a one-hit knockout.
Yeah, this is exactly where Max Potion shines. And you have to feel like Yoneda's just not only got his back against the wall, but he's at the brink of defeat. He really needs to come up with a huge turn in the next couple of turns.
Yeah. It looks like instead of going for the Helix Force route, Yamato is just going to sit back and use Raiden Knuckle again. He's going to hit for 60 damage. It looks 80 damage, sorry. That's a Muscle Band, not a hard charm on the Darkrai. So 80 damage, and he'll get another energy into play.
Yes, he will. So the Thundurus EX is accelerating Yamato's energies, and it's kind of making up for the Max Potions that we've already seen. Yamato's got plenty of energy in play, obviously, and Yoneda really doesn't. Yoneda only has 3 energy on his Darkrai, which is already damaged. He's got a couple of tools available to him, but honestly, not in Pokemon that I'd like to see against Thundurus EX.
Yeah, the problem here is that not only does Yamato have the prize lead, he also has a bunch of energy in play. He has a Prism on the Absol waiting to use Mind Jack, and Yoneda does have a fairly large bench. The Deoxys EX is ready to use Helix Force for anything that has a bunch of energy. Even Thundurus EX can do a lot for 1 energy, so it's just where does Yoneda make up this ground, right? He's behind. Where can he kind of attack and then not get knocked out? It's just going to be very difficult.
At this point, you really have to rely on the Garbodor to do a lot of work for you. You have to start avoiding one-hit knockouts, and you're probably going to have a lot of bench damage Pokemon. So you're hoping that your opponent doesn't play Kyurem. Basically, is what it comes down to.
Right, and one thing, I don't know if he plays Enhanced Hammer. If he did, that would be one way to kind of come back here. He's playing a Skyla, so if he were able to get Enhanced Hammer, he could have some big turns here where he kind of discards an energy off one Pokemon, knocks out the other, plays an N. That's the kind of play that can get you back into a game. And
he actually only has like a really small window for that because his opponent's putting too many energies in play, and he's losing too many energies himself. So he's got a very small window for the Enhanced Hammer to even work.
Yeah, it's crazy what Muscle Band has done to the game. Just a simple attacker like Thundurus EX, in the past, yeah, it could do some decent damage sometimes, but now it's taking lots of prizes early on. He's hitting for 80 damage for a single energy, and it just goes to show how powerful Muscle Band is.
Yes, it does. Hypnotoxic Laser, I believe, got Tails for Yoneda, so he doesn't get to put Yamato to sleep this time around. At least I don't think he does.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it. There's still no Verbank City Gym in play. And, looks like Yoneda is going back to the basics with the regular Yveltal. He may retreat and try to use that. I'm not sure what he's going for here.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely like only giving a single prize to your opponent when your opponent has 4 prizes left. You're going to force him to go through 2 EXs, ideally. But at the same time, your Yveltal is guaranteed to get knocked out at the end of your opponent's turn. And that's if your opponent decides not to Lysander or something else.
All right, well, Yamato has burned 1 Lysander by discarding it, and he's played a second one. So it's safe to assume he's probably out of those unless he's doing something crazy and playing 4 or something like that.
He plays Scramble Switch, so...
Yeah, you never know. But This is kind of clever for a couple reasons. First of all, it'll set up his Dark Ride and Night Spear for a knockout. If the poison stays there, the Thunderous will go up to 6 damage counters. Night Spear for 110 finishes it off. Another one is Yamato's already taken 2 prizes. If he takes a third on a non-EX, hey, that's fine. He still has to knock out 2 more EXs, but ooh, big Startling Megaphone.
Yeah, that Startling Megaphone was a card that I saw in Yamato's hand, and I wasn't sure if he was going to play it this turn or not. He might have wanted to keep it for Garbodor insurance, but he decided to play it here, and I mean, he does get at least a couple of tools off of his opponent.
And it looks like he's actually retreating to Absol here. Mind Jack will do 130. We'll finish off that Yveltal. But it is interesting to see this, right? He could have used Rain Knuckle and just finished it off that way.
And not only done that, but he also would have probably gotten energy from his discard pile. I believe he had some still left.
He may not have any left, but even so, it's just protecting his bigger attackers at this point. Thunderous, you know, it does small amounts of damage. It really hits for big when it does weakness, but Absol is going to hit for more damage, I think. Looks like he's not caring, though. He's just throwing it out there, seeing that he's discarded a couple muscle bands already with the Startling Megaphone. A couple lasers already gone, so even hitting for 100 may be a difficult task for Yoneda.
Yeah, you are correct. And like I said earlier, Yoneda really does have his back against the wall, and he needed a really big turn. He still hasn't had it. I believe his window's like gotten so small that if he doesn't actually do something on the following turn, his opponent's just got to be able to run away with it. And if Yoneda's only out at that point, is going to be something like an end to 1, and hope your opponent doesn't draw out of it.
Now we do see Yamato playing at a Professor Juniper there, and it looks like there's no Lugia EX in this deck. It's just kind of a Kyurem-based Plasma deck. Honestly, it's been a Thunderous deck so far, but he's going to Plasma Ball for another Thunderous EX after that Professor Juniper, and seems like everything's going his way so far. That's
a big reason for Plasma to be so good currently, is the fact that Yveltal just runs so rampant that Thunderous EX seems to be a very perfect counter for it, especially when you pair it with Deoxys EX and Muscle Band and all that good stuff.
Yeah, we do see Yamato kind of preparing for N, trying to play as many cards as he can, so he's not hit by that. That is Plasma's biggest weakness, getting hit by that big N at the end of the game. And we'll have to see if Yoneda can do it. He finally gets a Dark Patch, gets an energy onto his benched Yveltal EX, and speak of the devil, there's the N.
I believe that's a third N out of Yoneda this game, so he's down to a single one, if any at all. So we're going to have to keep a close eye on that because it's not easy to even draw your last one, and he's definitely going to need it this game. I can guarantee you that this end of 3 is just not going to be enough quite yet because he has so many energy in play, does Yamato.
We also see the Garbodor coming into play. No tool yet, but this is where things can actually get pretty scary. If Yamato doesn't draw well off of this N and the Absol gets knocked out, his Thunderous doesn't have any energy anymore. He's just got the energy on the Deoxys EX. One of them doesn't even have enough to attack, so he doesn't really have any good way to deal with Yveltal EX unless he draws well off this.
By the way, I don't think Yoneda actually drew a tool.
Okay.
So Garbodor's Garbotoxin is not online, and we're going to be able to see a knockout on this Yveltal more than likely.
Yeah, now Yamato has a decision to make. His hand is not very good. He has a Kyurem, a Tropical Beach, and an N from what I can see. So he's trying to figure out, oh boy, who do I promote here? Do I promote Thunderous, try to draw an energy and attack with that? That could do some big damage. It looks like that's the route he's going to go.
I think he just drew a supporter. Might have been an N, though.
Yeah, he already had that in his hand.
Oh, okay.
So he's going to go ahead and put that down. Interesting that he didn't play the Tropical Beach that he had in his hand. That could have been kind of a fail-safe if he didn't draw anything good off this.
Yeah, I think I would have played it specifically just because you don't really care if your opponent's Tropical Beaches at the end of his own turn.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got 5 prizes left, so it's not like an N's going to cripple your opponent. Things like that. I think I would have played the fail-safe personally.
Well, looks like he drew it back and also got a Prism Energy, so doesn't matter.
Well, the Prism Energy is going to allow the Thunderous EX to start attacking. It's not going to get the knockout quite yet, but it's going to leave that Yveltal pretty heavily damaged.
Yeah, it's going to do a ton of damage. I mean, how much does it actually do?
It's 160,
it's 160, yeah. That's 10 HP left. That's
I mean, you were one laser away from knocking it out and basically winning the game.
All right, so looks like Sammy Sakum has won our first round matchup against Jason Kozinski. So
I'm right. So far, I'm 1 for 1. If Yoneda ends up beating Yamato, I will be 2 for 2, but I don't believe that's going to happen.
Hey, you never know. N is a crazy card.
It really is. And I say I don't believe that's going to happen, but the truth is that the game is still undecided, and Yamato can absolutely draw dead off of these ends, and Yoneda does still have one available to him.
Yeah, now the thing here is I mean, what does Yoneda attack with?
I think you have to attack with the active Yveltal specifically because of the Frost Spear threat.
Right. He does have a max potion in his hand, though, so that opens up the door for some tricky plays here.
Does.
He can maybe retreat into the Darkrai and then max potion and Night Spear. Darkrai probably goes down after that, but at least you set up some other Pokemon to be knocked out. I don't know. He's got some options here. I don't know if any of them are good, though.
That's true. I don't like that Darkrai has 3 energy attached to it, so you really don't want to max potion that away, even though that's obviously going to be your best attacker because you actually aren't weak to Pokemon on your opponent's side of the field with Darkrai. Yveltal, even if you do max potion it away, like all your opponent needs is a laser and your Yveltal is going to get knocked out. Either way, there's no really good options here, and I believe he's probably, he's debating going for the retreat. He does retreat. He's going to force his opponent to probably Frost Spear on this following turn.
Yeah, and we do see a big Colress here. He's not going to play the max potion. The Kyurem does have an energy on it, but he may not care if it comes out. I don't know.
Yeah, I think Yoneda sees. I mean, obviously he sees the play. He sees the Kyurem play. I think he's just seeing a game plan where he has to end his opponent to 1.
Yeah. Now we do see a Colress raid. He did have that last N in his hand, so he does have it in his deck. And he finally gets a tool onto Garbodor. So no more abilities for Yamato at this point. I mean, maybe he has a second startling megaphone to get him back, but from now on, hey, back to doing regular damage with all of his Pokemon.
Yes. Yamato no longer has access to Deoxys EX's Power Connect, but I'm pretty sure he's not too unhappy about the amount of effect that they've had on the game so far.
Yeah, I mean, Thundurus has pretty much done all the heavy lifting so far, and it's crazy to think about just one energy, taking so many prizes, dishing out so much damage. I mean, Yoneda can Night Spear here, but you can see how kind of ineffective Darkrai has become in this format. Night Spear used to rule the game, and now, I mean, he's hitting, but then he'll probably get knocked out right afterwards.
Yeah, there's really not too much to say about that situation. Aside from the end of 1, what do you think Yoneda has to do here? Do you think that he's going to have anything available to him this turn?
This turn, no. He's just going to have to Night Spear, set up something else to be knocked out. He's going to need a Dark Patch next turn. I would assume Darkrai is going to go down. He's going to need a follow-up attacker and then probably an end to 1 after that. No matter what he does, there are a couple Pokemon powered up on the bench, so it's going to be difficult. Yeah,
that's exactly right. The fact that Thundurus EX has not only been taking prizes, but he's also been setting up Yamato's side of the field is what's really putting the nail on the coffin here on Yoneda. And Yoneda is going to be forced to kind of just cross his fingers and hope that Yamato doesn't draw the right cards from here on out.
And it looks like he will go for that Frost Spear play, so Yoneda not playing the max potion really is going to come back to bite him. It opens up the door for the Frost Spear, and now what is he going to do? He needs something big. I don't know what.
That was a Skyless, so he's not going to end his opponent to 1 on this turn.
Okay. It doesn't look like Yamato has a whole lot. He is going to Skyla for the Dark Patch, so he knows he needs to get that Darkrai on the bench powered up. I don't know. What can he do?
Well, the Darkrai's got 11 counters on it, which means it's about 7 counters away from getting knocked out.
Yep.
So you're not afraid of two Frost Spears. You're not afraid of that happening. I think you can safely retreat your Darkrai to the bench, and then if your opponent starts trying to tickle away at it with a Kyurem or a second Kyurem or something like that, then you're going to have your max potion available to you. So that is an option. Unfortunately, your Darkrai only has 180 HP, and it'll probably get knocked out in a couple of hits, especially because it's going to have 3 energy on it, so Deoxys EX can hit it for quite a bit of damage.
If he could have a Muscle Band and a Burbank City Gym and a laser, he could have knocked out Kyurem in 1 hit, but he's exhausted so many resources. So just another Night Spear. Realistically, he's going to need to get 3 Night Spears off to win. That's going to be his only way. If he can do that, he could take some big chunks of prizes at once. There's that Thundurus on the bench with 120 damage. But at this point, gosh, I don't see him really getting 3 Night Spears off. He'll get 2 more at most.
Yeah,
that might just putter out and lose.
That sounds right. I wish he would have had something like at least a laser to put the Kyurem at 30 HP remaining and threaten some sort of shenanigans later on. But without leaving the Kyurem with 40 HP remaining is just a really bad number to have. The Kyurem is going to be you're forcing yourself to Night Spear the Kyurem on the following turn, and that's just not something you want to do, especially when you're so far behind.
I think he's going to need like a double Dark Patch next turn. He has the max potion in his hand. If he can get probably his last 2 Dark Patches. And
I was going to say, I think he might only have a couple left if he plays 4.
Yeah, that's if he plays 4. We don't even know that. So the best way for him to try to win is a max potion on the bench, Darkrai, a double Dark Patch, and then a Night Spear, knocking out the Kyurem, hitting the Thundurus on the bench for 30. Then he could set up a big, perhaps a Lysander play, knocking out the Deoxys and the Thundurus at the same time. For his last 4 prizes, I don't see any other hope.
Yeah, another play would be something like just playing musical chairs with your Pokemon and just retreating them over and over, and then towards the end of the game attacking with like something like Yveltal, which attacks for very few energies. But again, that would require 2 more Dark Patches for sure. Right. And I just don't know if he's going to have those options available to him. I don't even know if his deck has those options available anymore.
Now, Yamato does have a Skyla here, so he's going to be able to search for any trainer card. We'll have to see what he grabs with this. He does have a second Startling Megaphone in his deck. That is an option. I wonder what his other options are. Maybe grab a supporter. Those probably his 2 best options.
Your deck is so small that I think the Startling Megaphone is probably something you want to get just to kind of secure kind of a lock against your opponent and force your opponent to have the end of one on your following turn.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to find what gives him the best odds of winning at this point. There are tons of supporters left. Wow, he does play 3 Lysander. There's 1 left in his deck.
Another Lysander would also lock the game for him. It would force your opponent to end you to 1 or just automatically lose the game.
I think there was a Lysander. I can't tell, but
I trust your eyes. Your eyes are way better than mine. So
if either that or an escape rope, I couldn't see for sure. But
the escape rope wouldn't be a bad idea either. I mean, it kind of serves a similar purpose, at least currently.
Yeah, even if he had the escape rope, though, there's nothing that could even knock out Garbodor at this point. He doesn't have an energy. The Muscle Band is on the wrong Deoxys, so escape rope wouldn't be a win. So he's just trying to figure out the best way to win. I don't know. These are the tough decisions that, whatever you take may not impact it that much. Like, it may improve your odds of winning like by 1%, but, you just try to figure it out.
Yeah, Yoneda's got no options available to him at this point. Like, it's all on Yamato. Yamato can potentially lock the game with the Lysander, force your opponent, obviously, to end you to 1, just like we said earlier. He also has the option available for the Startling Megaphone. Startling Megaphoning against the Garbodor is going to turn on your Power Connects. All these options, and your opponent's just kind of sitting there waiting for you to choose one.
Yeah. So another long Skyla. We've seen this a few times. We saw Yoneda at the beginning of the game take his time making a big decision. Can't blame him. I mean, this is a complex situation. Sometimes these do come up in Pokemon games. And we're all waiting. What is Yamato going to take? He's eyeing up the Chorus.
The Chorus is an option that I personally don't like, but I don't want to say I don't like. I don't like it as much as like a Megaphone or something like that. I think, what are you Chorusing for? Like, when you end up Chorusing, aren't you going to be trying to hit like a Megaphone yourself? Anyways, I don't know.
Probably the Megaphone plus an energy, so you can hit for big with something else. I don't know. But, hey, more cards never really hurts.
No, it doesn't. We'll have to wait and see exactly what ends up happening here. But
Hypnotoxic Laser. This could be a big flip.
I believe it's a heads.
Nope, that's
a tails. Fooled me.
So that will poison the Darkrai EX. And we're going to see the Frost Spear just for 30 damage, hitting probably the bench Darkrai for 30 as well. Seems like that makes the most sense.
Yes, it does.
So
the Darkrai's got
go ahead.
No damage on it.
Max Potion.
The Darkrai has no damage on it because of Max Potion.
And we actually have our other result in. Ross Coffin did defeat Brandon Salazar in the first round. So
now, was that in Yamato and Yoneda's pod?
Yep.
So Yamato and Yoneda's pod, that means that Ross Cawthon is going to go up against the winner of Yamato or Yoneda. I'm sorry?
We could see a Ross versus Yamato rematch.
We could. We really could. And it seems likely right now, actually.
All right. We do see an end to 1, though. So there's the final end for Yoneda. You just got to think, what can he really do off of this? If he uses Night Spear, Helix Force is hitting for, well, only 100. Right? It's going to do 120 minus the 20. So he'll actually survive a Helix Force. I guess I didn't think about that. An end to 1, if Yamato doesn't draw a Muscle Band. Uh-oh.
Okay, the Kyurem does go down, and you are right that
Muscle Band or a Burbank City Gym. One of those will allow his Deoxys EX to finish off the Darkrai for the game. Otherwise...
What about it? Maybe activating the Thundurus EX or something like that?
Oh, he's going for the Deoxys.
He's going for the Deoxys EX instead. I believe he does. He has a Tropical Beach and a Skyla.
He may just be doing the math at this point. Or does he have any Muscle Bands left? So he does have a Skyla. He can search for any trainer card. If he can get a knockout here, he wins.
Well,
I assume he's going to play it.
Does he have any other supporters in his deck? Or in his hand?
Yeah, just a Skyla and a Tropical Beach.
Yeah, so he has no other supporters in his hand. Might as well play it.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know what else he would do. He has to play it.
You and I just have our mouths wide open right now, just wondering why he hasn't played it yet, wondering if he's going to play it. Clearly, something's going on in his head, right? Clearly, he's wondering. He probably thinks he doesn't have any muscle. He probably knows he doesn't have any muscle bands left or something like that.
Or this is the biggest slow roll in the history of the Top Cut Invitational.
That's probably the better option, yeah. I'm going for those just for the sake of electricity.
All right, so Yamato still has not played a card on his turn. He does have Tropical Beach. He does have Skyla. He must know at this point he doesn't have a Muscle Band or a Verbank City Gym left, but you got to think no matter what, he's going to play Skyla. It's just... I mean,
yeah, you play the Skyla at least for the chorus.
Yeah.
You play the Skyla at least to get a chorus for yourself.
I don't know. I guess we'll just have to wait and see again. These guys love making us wait.
Yes, we will have to wait and see. That's the one thing I can guarantee we're going to have to do.
I mean, right now, let's look at the facts. Helix Force doesn't get it done. It does 100 damage thanks to the resistance on Darkrai. It'll go up to 160 after the poison kicks in. So, here it comes.
There it is. There is the
Skyla.
Skyla, a muscle band.
See the muscle band or Verbank City Gym? No, I don't see it.
We're right next to the monitor. We're looking as close as we can.
Goodness.
We do not see one yet.
Does he really not have any left? I don't see any.
Okay, so if he doesn't have any left, then he's got to go for option number 2, which is chorus, right?
Yeah, I would think so. And then, well, he can actually grab whatever he wants. He has Tropical Beach, too.
Oh, yeah, that's
so
true.
He can just retreat and then do that. He could grab
Maybe grab a
switch.
Lysander or something like that.
Yeah, Lysander wouldn't be too bad. Perhaps a switch wouldn't be bad either to save the energy on his Deoxys. I think 100% he has to put the damaged Thunderous EX in the active here. That's going to get knocked out regardless by the bench damage from Night Spear. So he needs to put that in the active spot. Make sure nothing crazy happens like a 4-prize turn.
Yeah. Oh, man. Okay, so you are right that the Deoxys EX probably has to leave.
Yeah, he has to retreat. There's no way he can leave that active unless he knows for sure that Yoneda is out of muscle bands, out of lasers and Verbanks.
I think you absolutely grab the Lysander here. You do not grab the Colress. There's no reason to grab the Colress. The Colress is just not the... Okay, there we go. He's probably grabbing the Lysander. He looks like he is, which means that he's going to Tropical Beach to get 6 new cards, I believe. And that Tropical Beach better do a lot of work for him because it somehow, some way, the game's turning around.
I don't even know how to explain this. We do see the Tropical Beach for 6, and he actually promotes the Deoxys EX here. Now it'll be on Yoneda. Can he pull off the miracle here? If he has a Lysander and a Muscle Band, he can knock out 2 Pokemon EX at once, take his last 4 prizes, and prove that Darkrai still has some strength.
I've said this all along. I love Darkrai. I think Darkrai is one of those Pokemon that just gets severely underrated because even though it doesn't deal a lot of damage, it still has quite a few nasty little effects. Yeah. Something like dealing 30 damage to the bench Pokemon and then obviously 90 damage to the active is just so much damage for 3 energies.
Right. I just can't believe Yamato plays more than 2 Lysander.
I can't believe he doesn't play 4 Muscle Band.
Clearly he's got to find room for the Lysander somewhere.
Okay, so Yoneda now has quite a few options available to him. I think he's got something like a 5-6 card hand.
Yeah, now assuming he can't win the game this turn, I don't know what his best option is. I don't think you can leave this Darkrai active. If you do, you get knocked out by Helix Force and you lose. He's out of N. He's played all 4. He's played Scramble Switch, so he doesn't have a dowsing machine.
Does your opponent have a way to Helix Force on the following turn, though?
Probably. He used Tropical Beach, filled his hand up to 7. There's a Plasma on the active.
True.
He just needs to attach a Prism or a Rainbow. And we see he does play like 4 Rainbow and 4 Prism in his deck.
Yeah.
So odds are he'll be able to Helix Force. If you retreat the Darkrai, though, it can't be knocked out. Problem is, Deoxys does have Muscle Band. So even with a Prism or a Rainbow, he has the Lysander. He can bring up Garbodor and knock it out.
Well, I like this plan so far. A laser gets heads.
Here we go. Verbank, laser, he is all in here. What is the flip going to be?
If Tails, Yamato might just lose unless obviously he has an escape rope. We know he plays it.
Oh my goodness, this could be the biggest flip right here. Will Yamato's Pokemon wake up? Will the Deoxys wake up?
Why is he just drawing before? No, you flip first, buddy.
Here we go. Heads.
The game is probably going to be over. All he needs is
man.
an energy.
Does he? Oh, he doesn't have it.
Oh, my goodness.
He does have a Juniper, though. You can see how many cards he has left. He has a Juniper. I think he'll probably draw it.
Yeah, you just play the Juniper.
Yeah, he's going to see if there's anything else he can do first.
No, you laser first. You laser, then you play the Juniper. All right, heads on this. So now that makes it even harder for Yoneda really to win this game.
Yeah, and here we go. Big Juniper coming up. Will he draw the Prism or the Rainbow to win the game? Just needs one or the other.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, my goodness.
5.
Oh, no.
6.
No way, that was 7.
That was 7?
That was 7.
I miscounted. That was already 7. No.
What?
He missed the energy that he needed in order to win this game.
How does this happen? How does Yoneda do it?
Another Deoxys EX is not what you're looking for currently.
Right.
The switch does get you out of the active position, though, which means you're not going to just lose.
He's going to switch into another Deoxys EX and probably attach to the active. Now we have a big flip coming back, though. Yoneda's still asleep. Does he wake up? Oh, he stays asleep on the laser. That might be it. He probably gets knocked out by poison damage by the time it comes back to his turn.
Yeah, with his own Verbeek City Gym.
Does he have a switch to get out of the active spot now?
I mean, how often do you see these Dark Rat Garbodor decks play Switch?
Usually you see one, but he does play Scramble Switch, so instead of Switch,
exactly.
Perhaps he's doing that. Oh, man. Oh, he has a Tropical Beach, too. That could potentially save him from being knocked out by poison.
I mean, yeah, you already know your opponent doesn't have the energy currently in his hand, but you also know your opponent has a new 7-card hand. So the odds are pretty bad. Oh, there it is.
And that's going to be it. Yamato steals a game off of a Hypnotoxic Laser Flip. What an epic round one.
Yeah, there was 2 flips that could have gone either way. Yamato didn't really get what he needed. However, he put his opponent to sleep. It couldn't wake up, and that was it for Yoneda. Yoneda almost had an incredible comeback, but he fell just shy.
That was just an awesome game. And what else can you expect?
It really was. It was an awesome game between 2 of the best Japanese players of all time. And I'm glad we got to cover that on the first round. We did miss some results, so let's talk about them real quick.
Yeah, it looks like our round 1 winners, Yamato, as we just saw, Ross, and then Sammy and Ryan from the blue pod. So it looks like Yoneda, Brandon, Jason, and Lex will be in danger of elimination second round.
In the second round, we will see the very first 2 players get eliminated from this tournament, 1 from each pod. Yoneda against Brandon and Lex against Jason. Brandon, the national champion, we said he probably feels like he has a lot to prove here, and he really doesn't want to get eliminated early on. Lex is a senior division player. You know that he really doesn't want to get eliminated early on. He really wants to play against these master division players as much as he can right now.
This tournament means a lot to everyone. It's a lot to prove, right? This is your tournament to show that you're the best of the best. So all these guys are hungry to win.
And the best of the best is also one loss away from getting eliminated.
Hey,
so many storylines are going on right now, and we'll have to wait and see what happens during round 2 in order to kind of get more information as to what's going to happen in this tournament.
Yeah, so we'll be back with round 2 shortly. Of course, go ahead and watch.